Imagine for a moment an immense, ancient forest that has grown organically over countless ages. Some trees are gigantic, with roots plunging deep into the dark soil of prehistory. Others are younger, intertwining with the older ones. There are countless paths running through it, some wide and well marked, others narrow and winding trails. All of them, however, belong to the same vibrant and complex ecosystem. This forest is perhaps the best metaphor for the Indian spiritual tradition we know as Hinduism. Unlike other major faiths around the globe, Hinduism has no single founder, no single holy book that contains the whole truth, and no single prophet who spoke with God. It is a confluence of rivers, a symphony of beliefs, practices, and philosophies that flowed and mingled over at least 4,000 years on the Indian subcontinent. It is a tradition that can welcome within its vast embrace the philosopher who meditates on the impersonal nature of reality, the devotee who sings lovingly to a god with an elephant's face, and the yogi who seeks to master the mind through iron discipline. It seems a paradox, a tangle of contradictions. Yet beneath this dizzying diversity beats a common quest, a search for cosmic order, for an understanding of our true nature, and for liberation from the endless cycle of birth and death. Its history is the history of India itself, and its influence shapes the lives of more than 1 billion people. Today, we will venture into this ancestral forest. We will explore its deepest roots, decipher its foundational concepts, navigate its many paths, and discover why, in this ever-changing world, the wisdom of Sanatana Dharma, the eternal faith, continues to inspire humanity's search for meaning. This is the story of Hinduism. To understand Hinduism, we need to travel back to a world that predates most civilizations we know. Its earliest roots are mysterious, possibly anchored in the advanced Indus Valley civilization, which flourished more than 4,500 years ago. Although its script has not yet been deciphered, clay seals found in its ruins show figures seated in meditative postures and symbols that seem to foreshadow later gods, such as Shiva. The next chapter of this story begins around 1500 BCE, with the arrival of Indo-European peoples, or Aryans, who brought their gods, their rituals, and most importantly, their sacred hymns. These hymns, transmitted orally from generation to generation with astonishing precision, would form the basis of the oldest and most sacred texts of Hinduism, the Vedas. This period, known as the Vedic Age, was defined by ritual. Life revolved around the yajna, the fire sacrifice, performed by specialized priests, the Brahmins. It was believed that when properly carried out, these rituals maintained the order of the cosmos, Arta, ensuring prosperity, reign, and victory in battle. It was a worldview in which humans, gods, and the universe were intrinsically connected through the power of the sacred word and ritual. But as the centuries passed, a new spiritual unrest began to stir. Some sages and ascetics withdrew to the forests, seeking a deeper, more inward understanding of reality. They asked, what is the essence behind the rituals? What is this self that lives, dies, and is reborn? What is the nature of the ultimate reality that upholds the entire universe? The answers to these questions, born of meditation and profound introspection, were compiled in a set of mystical and philosophical texts known as the Upanishads. This shift from outward ritual to inner quest marked a crucial turning point, giving Hinduism its deep philosophical foundation. Rather than a unified doctrine, Hinduism offers a set of interlinked concepts that form its backbone. The first and most fundamental is Brahman. Brahman is not a god in the Abrahamic sense, a creator separate from creation. It is the ultimate reality, the impersonal, infinite, eternal cosmic principle. It is the source of all that exists, the essence that permeates the entire universe. It is the ocean from which all drops of existence emerge and to which they will one day return. If Brahman is the cosmic ocean, then Atman is the individual drop. Atman is the soul. the inner self, the divine spark that dwells within every living being. The great revolutionary discovery of the sages of the Upanishads was that Atman is not separate from Brahman. In its deepest essence, the individual soul is identical with the universal soul. "Thou art that," declares a famous passage. Our sense of separation is an illusion, or maya, a veil of ignorance that keeps us from seeing our true nature. This ignorance binds us to samsara, the relentless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. Our actions within this cycle are governed by a universal, impersonal law, karma. It is not a divine reward or punishment, but a natural law of cause and effect. Every action, word, and thought we generate creates an imprint, an energy that will inevitably return to us, shaping our present circumstances and determining our future, whether in this life or the next. How do we navigate this cycle? The moral and ethical compass is dharma. This is one of the richest and most complex words in Hinduism. Dharma is cosmic order, natural law, duty, righteousness, and ethical conduct. It is the principle that upholds the universe and society. Dharma is not the same for everyone. It depends on our age, our gender, and our occupation. Being a good warrior carries a different dharma from being a good priest. Fulfilling one's dharma, regardless of outcomes, is to act in harmony with the universe and generate good karma. The ultimate goal of this entire journey is not to reach a celestial paradise, but to escape the cycle altogether. This liberation is called moksha. It is the breaking of the chains of karma and samsara, the tearing of Maya's veil, and the final realization of the unity of Atman and Brahman. It is the return of the drop to the ocean, a state of supreme peace, knowledge, and bliss. The ideas of Hinduism are contained in a vast and diverse collection of scriptures, divided into two main categories: Shruti, that which is heard, and Smriti, that which is remembered. Shruti is composed of the 4 Vedas, considered to be of divine origin, heard by the ancient sages, or rishis. They are the most revered texts, containing hymns, mantras, and ritual instructions. Attached to the Vedas are the Upanishads, which hold the core of Hindu philosophy. Smriti includes an enormous variety of texts, of human authorship, but divinely inspired. The most beloved and influential are the great epics. The Ramayana tells the story of Prince Rama, an incarnation of the god Vishnu, and his quest to rescue his wife Sita, captured by a demon. It is a story about duty, loyalty, and the triumph of good over evil. The Mahabharata, one of the longest poems in the world, recounts the struggle between 2 branches of a family for control of a kingdom. It is a complex epic about war, politics, suffering, and morality. Nested within the Mahabharata is a brief dialogue that has become perhaps the most important and universally known Hindu text, the Bhagavad Gita, or the Song of the Lord. In it, the warrior Arjuna is in despair on the battlefield, unwilling to fight his own relatives. His charioteer, who reveals himself to be the god Krishna in disguise, offers him a profound discourse on dharma, karma, the nature of reality, and the different paths to liberation. The Gita synthesizes the philosophy of the Upanishads and makes it accessible, offering a practical guide to spiritual life amidst the world's challenges. Recognizing that people have different temperaments and inclinations, Hinduism offers multiple paths, or yogas, to attain moksha. The Bhagavad Gita outlines the 3 main ones. Karma yoga is the path of selfless action. It is the path for those with an active nature. It teaches that we can attain liberation, not by renouncing action, but by renouncing attachment to its fruits. A karma yogi fulfills their duty to the best of their ability, dedicating every action to God, without worrying about personal success or failure. It is the art of finding the sacred in everyday work. Jnana Yoga is the path of knowledge and wisdom. It is the path for intellectuals and contemplatives. A Jnana Yogi uses reason and discrimination to pierce the veil of Maya, meditating on the great truths of the scriptures to realize their identity with Brahman. It is a steep philosophical ascent to the peak of self-realization. Bhakti Yoga is the path of devotion and love. It is the most popular and accessible path. A Bhakti yogi chooses a personal form of God, such as Vishnu, the preserver, Shiva, the transformer, or Devi, the mother goddess, and directs all their love and emotional energy toward that divinity. Through prayers, chants, rituals, and service, the devotee seeks to surrender completely to God, finding liberation through divine grace. Later, a fourth path was systematized by the sage Patanjali, Raja Yoga, the royal path. It is the science of mental control and meditation. Through an 8-step system, including physical postures, breath control, and deep meditation, the Raja Yogi seeks to still the mind's fluctuations so that their true nature can shine forth. The long history of Hinduism has not been free of challenges. The rise of Buddhism and Jainism within India itself offered alternatives to its ritual and social order. Centuries of Muslim rule and, later, British colonialism brought new ideas and exerted immense pressure on Hindu culture and religion. In the 19th century, in response to both Western criticism and internal stagnation, several Hindu reform movements emerged. Leaders like Swami Vivekananda presented Hinduism to the West not as a set of idolatrous rituals, but as a profound, universal philosophy, the mother of all religions. In the 20th century, Mahatma Gandhi used foundational Hindu principles, such as ahimsa, non-violence, to forge a new political weapon that challenged the British Empire and inspired civil rights movements around the world. Today, thanks to the Indian diaspora, Hinduism has become a religion with global reach. Its emphasis on a plurality of paths and respect for other faiths offers a message relevant to an interconnected world. Practices like yoga and meditation, with deep roots in Hindu philosophy, have spread worldwide and are now a part of the lives of millions of non-Hindus, offering tools for physical and mental well-being. Nevertheless, modern Hinduism also faces new geopolitical tensions, including the rise of Hindu nationalism, which at times comes into conflict with its traditional tolerance and diversity. Answering the main question of this video. So, what is Hinduism? Perhaps the best answer is that it is an invitation to a journey. It is a tradition that does not demand blind belief, but personal exploration. It is a complex map of human consciousness, drawn over millennia, that shows us where we are and offers multiple paths to union with the infinite reality that is our true essence. It is the idea that the universe is not something separate from us, but something we can discover within our own hearts. It is a cosmic dance of creation, preservation, and dissolution, and each of us is invited to find our own rhythm in that eternal dance.